live.
Yay.
Hey.
I use this microphone to cover up my mask.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's the new year. So, first stream of the new year.
Happy New Year.
Yeah.
We're starting it off wrong already.
Yeah. Yeah, so the idea, well, I guess this is also our January 6th episode. So, if anybody comes through that door, shoot them.
Oh, okay. Okay.
We're very paranoid over here.
Oh, I'm embarrassed it took me that long to put it together.
Oh, sorry.
Yep.
But so New Year, and of course we've been dreading this. We've been dreading this year because this is, of course, the 50th anniversary of something. And so I thought, well,
my wedding?
what would be better for a 50th anniversary than just to ignore it completely?
Yes, I agree.
was like, that would be the best thing ever. And then last night.
Honestly, that's how I do my anniversaries.
Yeah.
By the way, it was anniversary. Oh, really? Was it?
Yeah, so it's going to be hard to resist. So I'm not going to make this part of the regular podcast, but we can talk about this before and after a little bit. But so there was a live stream that people started talking about that right in the middle of their live stream. They just do like kind of we do, just a chat weekly about gaming. And somebody in chat said, "Hey, take a look at this." Right. And it was, I think, an insider kind
supposedly,
of person. Yes. And so they sent them some lines from the new OGL 1.1.
Oh yeah, that's what it is.
So this is the thing that they're gonna maybe try to force down everyone's throat, and some of the wording is a bit shocking, and nobody knows how this is really going to work. And I think what we're going to have to deal with is them having a real bad OGL and enticing you to say, if you want to be on our platform, if you want to do this, this is what you agree to.
Yep.
So hopefully they're going to leave everybody else alone, as far as Paizo and Goodman Games and everybody that's, that they can't pull it out from under them. Okay, you're operating with this, and there's, we're not going to do anything about that. But moving forward, we want, people to be on our platform. But they could. I mean, they could, because some of the wording is very suspicious. Because it basically says that the previous agreement, though 1.0A, I guess, is unauthorized.
Yeah.
So
it's junk on a page. Yeah.
Yeah. So very bizarre. So I've heard people going back and forth about what this means and whatever, but it doesn't mean anything because it's all going to have to be fought in court. Like nothing has to happen, nothing except for, being on the one D&D platform or whatever. Nothing is going to be affected unless it gets resolved about what they can actually do. Because if they say, well, we want to do this, and you just say, no, you can't do this, and then you'll have to figure it out legally. So it's going to be, it's going to be quite a mess. And so, people have been going on back and forth. And then it was funny, though, because it was right before this, there was a PBS article on the website that was
kind of bashing the OSR.
Yes. But it seemed very much, I think that's going to be the trend. So we're going to call this now.
Okay.
If you're using pencils and paper and physical books, you're a racist, you're a sexist, you're a homophobe. No, but I mean...
I'm just terrible. Now.
But I think that's what they're going to... that's the angle they're going to take, because they want to get people on this digital platform.
Interesting.
So they're going to say, oh, you're only buying our books and you're not a subscriber? Well, what are your politics? We're not quite sure. Who did you vote for? They're going to be very suspicious. So I think that's going to be the move, because the tone of that PBS article was very much bashing, this is a wonderful hobby and it's so inclusive, but there are these horrible people. Yeah.
Weird.
So I think that's going to be the new domestic terrorist kind of angle. It's like, yep, here we go. These people, they're threatening our hobby. And unless you're a subscriber to our digital platform, I don't
know that we can trust you. Interesting.
Yeah, so that's my suspicion, is that they're going to start to, because you're under monetized. If you're if you're OSR, you're
we're not
under
squeezing pennies from you, right?
You are not paying us enough to be nice to you.
Wow.
So that combination of those things, I'm like, oh, I can feel what they might try to do, and they haven't even proven that they can do this digital platform thing, because
when has that stopped them before?
Yeah,
was there supposed to be all kinds of online tools for 3.5 or 4.0 or whatever that just kind of evaporated?
Right. Yeah, so if they half-ass these digital tools, then why would anybody agree to this new
because
OGL?
It's the most popular game in the world.
That's right.
It's the most popular game in the world.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting if this changes people's attitudes and changes what system they want to develop for, and all kinds of stuff can be happening.
Here's an idea: make your own fucking game.
Yeah, right. And just don't rely on people that are willing. And just like we were talking about this, I think last year, The
Probably
fandom.
seeing as how that's the last time we saw each other.
The last year. Fandom,
The Cortex Prime,
yeah,
kind of
Cortex
thing,
Prime,
which got revised, but I haven't seen the new one. I think.
Yeah, but it was that same problem where it's like everything you do, we own.
Yep.
And that's exactly what
Just
this
by
new,
using this license.
Yes. Yeah, we own it.
We own the thing,
and we can do whatever we want with it. You know, it's a royalty-free license to do whatever. So
well, okay, I don't care, right, about like
right.
the OGL, and it seemed to be there was a lot of chatter about it, and I wasn't going to take the time to separate rumor from reality.
Yeah.
However, I did read a couple articles before coming over here, and my biggest takeaway from that was WotC saying we never intended the OGL to allow our competitors this massive foothold, right?
Right.
And okay, as a business, I get it, right? Sure, they right? I think a couple of places declined to comment, like Paizo declined to comment. But the one I saw, like Green Ronin said, okay, the only thing that uses the OGL is our very popular Mutants and Masterminds one, right? There are still games, there are games out there that use the OGL, but like, sorry, why did you think a company was going to just sit on their hands and go, get real popular and make a lot of money off something we developed?
Oh, yeah,
right?
well, that's a good point. Yeah, the argument I think a lot of them are going to take is it's been this same agreement for like 23 years. I think this update, the A update was only to include PDFs and like digital wording. So, and the other really suspicious thing that I saw involved with this is Kickstarter acknowledged. Somebody hit up Kickstarter and they acknowledged that we are the preferred platform. So
I'm not going to try and parse legal thing, but there was something along the lines of, if you crowdfund through another platform, it's this rate or something. If you go through Kickstarter, it's this better rate, whatever. Right. So I'm not going to try and figure out what that means, other than they want people to use Kickstarter.
Yeah, and we warned you, former Microsoft execs. I mean, this is what they do. And so this is, very suspicious, like the kind of things, the tactics that Amazon does with like electronic books and audiobooks. If you use exclusively their platform, they give you a much better rate than if you want you want on as many platforms as possible, and the rates are really, really bad. Like it's as little as you get 25% of like audiobooks on Audible if you go on multiple services. Well,
you're making it up by being on multiple platforms, right?
Right.
That's the fact that it's not their fault that they happen to be the biggest.
They have change. Yeah. So it's that same sort of attitude where they're just gonna force everyone into, well, you have to do this. You have to if you want to, just like streaming services, if you want to see these movies, you have to subscribe to this because that's where these shows and movies are. So if you want to play D&D, you gotta put your money down.
If you want to make stuff for D&D, and like I think, I don't really think this is going to affect little like people, right? I think WotC was pretty clear. Like, we never intended to make Paizo and Green Room. We never intended to make competitors. So this is going to hit the big people.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and maybe they're going to force them to kind of negotiate something. Yeah. And the thing that also feels strange about it is the kind of content creators and stuff. So how could they probably looked at Critical Role and said, why aren't we getting a piece of this? That's insane. It's like the most goodwill and free advertising that product could ever have gotten is when Critical Role switched from Pathfinder to D&D, and now they're going to say, okay, pay us royalties now.
They might. If this, I said it on Twitter, I kind of don't care, even though I'm talking about a lot. I think it would be hilariously delicious if the thing that knocked the 8,000-pound gorilla off its pedestal was itself. Right? Through this OGL thing, right?
Yeah, and because there's so many things that they can do that are going to make them look so bad. So you question, why would they? Why would they?
Because they're a company, they're a business, right?
Right. So if they want to show their shareholders, look at this amazing, amazing revenue we're making now. But
look at all this bank we're making from Critical Role.
So it's funny. We should see, and maybe people are right that they should have, spun off, Wizards, or spun off D&D as something separate. So there wouldn't be the demand for this performance, and there wouldn't have been this kind of thing happening, because as it remains part of Hasbro, it's got to produce, and it's got to be.
But like WotC was itself for a little bit.
Yeah, it was.
And they didn't do it. They obviously got bought by somebody.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. No, but they were talking about like breaking it back off again. Like there was that talk, like there was that movement a year or two ago where people were like, yeah, it should be, because it has plateaued and it's very successful and it has artificial growth from the pandemic. But actually, yeah. So we're gonna see them kind of struggling.
This time next year, the state of D&D, it might be a lot worse than what it is now.
Yeah, it's really strange. And this whole added, this not doing a new version because they don't want to split.
There are no versions.
Yeah, right. Because they don't want to split the fan base. So we're not doing a new version. We're just doing the version.
Yep, an update. No, it's. I think I watched a lot of Seinfeld over the break, but it's not a new number. It's just changed, right? It's not a new version. It's just changed. It's the same version.
Yes.
But different, right?
Right. Yeah, so there's so much stuff that people are kind of trying to figure out what to make of it, and they haven't even officially released the text of 1.1 to the public. I think people have gotten previews and stuff, and that's where the leaks came from. Yeah. But hey guys, Happy New Year, everybody!
Happy New
So
Year.
Matt and Miguel and Alvaro, hey guys. So
Is that an upturned table little emoji thing? Cool.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes, it is. Yeah, there's our heads and the table. There's all kinds of.
I don't want to see my head.
So, Miguel was saying some lawyers, not IP lawyer, says that the way it's worded, forcing somebody to renounce their old OGL and update to the 1.1 is not as easy. Yeah, right. As I think. Yeah. So it is going to be a weird time of adjustment, and hopefully it's just going to make people look around. I think people that were very loyal or weren't aware of anything else out there besides 5e, hopefully this will be a chance for them to look around and
fucking stands for
get away.
Everything. Like the hardcore ones are going to be like, oh no, this is totally good, bro. And like the people who, I think that's going to make more people look around. I think it's going to make people who want to create or are creating things maybe at least look closely or second guess whether they absolutely need to use D&D or something. Like, well, why don't I just try this other thing? Right?
Yeah.
Because I see of several like indie publishers or people that have games on Twitter just like, you know what doesn't have an OGL? Troika. Or like, you know what doesn't have these, right? Hey, consider using one of these, right? And who knows how much it's going to take, as in like how many people are going to use it or what's going to happen. But I want to see what's going to happen.
Yeah. I hope that it's I hope it's good for the industry overall and not just it kind of Wizards sucking up this as much as possible and kind of holding hostage people that found a hobby that they enjoy, and now to play that they're going to have to subscribe and do whatever.
Hold hostage is pretty extreme. There are other options.
Yeah.
And it's not difficult to fucking find them.
No, that's true. But it is funny though how people are just like, I don't know. And I think there's going to have to be a deliberate attempt by some of these other companies to make it as easy as possible to kind of get into other systems or try other systems, because if you have one bad experience, you take you gingerly step away from 5e. You're like, oh, this is confusing and weird. I didn't understand.
That's real hard though, because a lot of that is end user.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, okay, not all the time, but if you had like a crappy experience with a GM running another game, you go, whoa, no. But it very well may have been the person, not the game.
Right.
But on the other hand, like, okay, the people who are probably going to pick it up are the ones that are going to run the game anyway, so they probably have to like read through the book. So yeah, your book better be as accessible as possible to people coming from another system or doing something. So
yeah. So we will see, but maybe hopefully companies like Free League that are doing like real tempting and friendly IP licenses and stuff. Hopefully that will be some go some way to pull people away. We'll see what's going to happen, but. Yeah, so that was the idea was to just ignore this 50th anniversary, have zero D&D talk for an entire year, and immediately they sabotaged because that's all that.
God damn it, D&D.
Yeah.
To be fair, we didn't have to talk about it.
We didn't. No, that's true, and that's the thing that's so frustrating, especially about platforms like YouTube, and Twitch and things. If we're not talking about this, then we're becoming even more irrelevant. Like the algorithm just says, "What? Who cares? Just step aside, boys." It's OGL 1.1 time.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
So yeah, it's a funny situation. Hey Griffith, how's it going?
Ooh, yeah.
Big Geek saying they only take 25% of game product sales. So yeah, that's 25% is better than Amazon and a lot of treatment from other places. I mean, things get as crazy as like 60, 75% on some digital platforms. Yeah. What is DM's Guild's cut?
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, it's pretty high. I think it's like 40 or something. I thought it was pretty high. Nice. Good to see you, Griff. That's very cool. So it's it'll be an interesting
year
thing. Yeah. This will be weird because they're going to be trying to, at the same time, they should have had, started the celebration before they started this, hitting us with, what their
I don't think they intended to,
are.
right? Because it was supposedly leaked.
Yeah, right.
So,
but I thought the original intended release date was supposed to be January 4th, though. So I think they had delayed it, releasing it to the public. So it was supposed to be out, and they just hadn't gotten their act together, and people had it, and of course because it's the internet, it gets leaked, and people want to leak it on live streams and stuff. That's so funny that people want to have this immediate scooping everybody. I've got the first here.
Well, of course, who wouldn't want to be like, oh, exclusive, right?
Right. Yeah, it's funny. So we'll try to ignore. Well, we have to pay attention to the car crash or the train wreck.
Do you? You just do like this. That's a shame. Keep walking.
But we'll focus on the good. We'll focus on the things that are positive and creative and wonderful about this hobby instead of the bad business that's going on. Yeah. Griff says they have no clue what they're doing. Yeah, the Critical Role team. Miguel says the Critical Role team is going to love it. They started with Pathfinder, then moved to D&D because of the larger presence. Yeah, maybe they'll just move back to Pathfinder.
Yeah, maybe.
I was thinking though that was, and maybe it's not possible to do, but with Pathfinder Second Edition, I wonder why Paizo didn't step a bit further away so that with that system and change it enough.
I think they couldn't, otherwise they'd have a D&D 4.0 on their hands.
Yeah, right. Well, that's right. Then nobody would have left.
Pathfinder is not my jam, but it's I've played one, but it was the whole thing why Pathfinder came about is too many people said, this is different, right?
Yeah.
So
that's
the company that made its thing on not being different suddenly goes, hey, we're different, right?
Right. Well, and maybe there was nobody really knew what was going to happen, that they were going to try to pull something like this. But we'll see. And if you're thinking about players and players of an RPG as customers for software, then you're in trouble. Your thinking is going to be totally
we'll find out. Maybe at the end of this, maybe next year this time next year we're going, wow, customers as software, right? That's the way to go. Right. Yeah.
Your players are nothing more than targets of monetization.
Yeah.
Nice. Hey, Abyss, how's it going? All right. Oh yeah, right. We really need. Yeah, I got to get the bumpers all queued up. Yes. So not the best.
Oh yeah,
right.
Well, we don't know.
Yeah, that's
Might
right.
Be awesome for other people.
But everything else we're going to talk about for the rest of the year is not the best.
Ooh,
that's
a bold statement.
Not the world's greatest roleplay. But the stuff we'll be enthusiastic about.
Oh yeah.
Not the stuff we'll be mocking. Yeah. But it's difficult. But hopefully overall it will be positive. And it's funny during, there's going to be probably the most amount of criticism against, Wizards while they're trying to say, hey, 50th anniversary, yay, guys, remember? So we'll see. Yeah, Griff says, so stop using D&D, make your own game. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly what
make your own
Chris,
game.
Yeah.
It's not. No, it is hard. It is hard.
Oh, wait a minute.
It's not. No, it is hard, but you can do it.
Yes,
right?
and it's rewarding too. I mean, because you have ownership and kind of attachment to something that, And I think a lot of groups, should homebrew the hell out of everything that they're doing.
Sorry. Well, I think that's kind of the appeal of OSR, right? That. I don't understand why there are so many retro clones out there, but it's no, somebody said, this is how we've homebrewed this system. We think it's pretty cool. We'll put it out there for everyone else to kind of play around with, right?
Yeah. So we'll see. Hey, Christopher, how's it going? So Christopher Kubli says major content creators are already moving away from the potential 6E, so you're going to see a lot of split in the massive 5E field. Yeah, they're gonna by being too careful and being too greedy. That's interesting. They're going to split a fan base not based on rule changes or anything, but based on business model. Yeah. That's really, really odd. Wow. And Matt says you don't need to design your own game, just support indie creators. Yeah, that's true too. Yeah.
Anyone can make their own game. Not everyone has the time, luxury, or inclination to want to. So go find something else to play.
Yeah, I think, and so that will be our our motivation for this year.
Go play fucking something else.
We're gonna we'll present as many options as possible, and so you can see new things to play. And there'll be a suggestion at the end of this video as well. At the end of this stream.
I look forward to seeing what it is.
All right. Yeah. And Chris says, "Well, you can plug and play all kinds of things." Yeah, that's very true. Yeah. So hopefully this will be good. Overall, it'll be ugly for a little while, but then it'll be good. It'll be like
D&D, good for the health of the hobby.
Yeah, be people waking up, like Neo in the pod covered with the goo. They're like, oh my god, there's other games out there.
I'm sorry, I've said this before. I watched The Matrix that was the last movie I saw in this fancy old Art Deco theater in Philadelphia, where stuff was just falling from the ceiling, it wasn't upkeep,
right?
And watching it and that scene, right? And someone goes, "Why he all white? Like, why he can't see?" And I'm just like, did you not? Like, that is my memory of The Matrix, right? Like, explain everything and why he can't see? And it's like, oh, Jesus Christ, right? Like that scene with your muscles, you haven't used them. I'm like, they said it fucking right there, right? Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Excellent. Oh, Griff said Dungeon Delver did a good show on this, and then the PBS NewsHour article. Nice.
Which I guess I'm gonna have to go and read.
Yeah, you should. It's very interesting. It feels like a paid piece.
Ooh.
It really feels like
paid hit piece.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. It's like, hey guys, we want to talk about our hobby and also talk about those scumbags that are trying to ruin it that we know aren't going to subscribe. We know they're not going to subscribe. Nice.
PBS too. Yeah. I'm gonna just imagine Big Bird fucking reading the article.
Yeah, right. All right. So let's get started. Ooh. Sorry for this week. So here we go. So welcome to the weekly. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Chris.
And this week on the weekly, Shadowrun original art for sale. Oh yeah. The 10 most anticipated games of 2023.
Oh, okay.
See if anything you were waiting for is on the list. Dungeon23.
Oh yeah, okay.
Is up upon us. And a Goodman Games Humble Bundle.
Oh, nice.
So that'll be our recommendation for something new to try. So let's start with, so this was kind of a surprising thing. Usually this goes through dealers and galleries and stuff. But the original Shadowrun logo for first and second edition, the actual framed artwork showed up on Noble Knights.
Wow.
So Noble Knights, and along with that, a lot of there's some telephone doodles and things from some of the artists that were working. So there's some really funny stuff like a troll and stuff that character sketches that were when they were on the phone. So for a very reasonable amount of money, you could get a little piece of kind of Shadowrun history, but this is not a little piece of money. This is
oh yeah. I was about to say yeah.
So as of this recording, this was still available on the website itself, and if you have a little bit under $35,000, you can pick up this. But it's already framed. It's already like a beautiful piece. And what happened was the Noble Knights worked a deal out with the original art director. So and that was it was a very funny thing to suddenly pop up. But along with this iconic huge piece of art, this logo that they used on a couple of editions, they also had a lot of other supporting work. Of course, all of that sold out. All the photo stuff.
Because who has $35,000?
So it must have been something. They don't want to risk auctioning it. They know that it has a value and they want to get that from it. So they're just going to wait for the right investor. So I thought that was very funny. And unfortunately, Shadowrun, just like a few other games that we've seen, is currently owned by Topps, and the rights.
Really?
Yeah, the rights now. They went from
Topps.
it went from FASA to WizKids, and then now Topps and Catalyst Games.
Oh, okay.
So
okay. I know Catalyst.
Yeah, Catalyst Games. Yeah, so they're I guess they've got a weird. I think BattleTech it's the same thing. They have this joint ownership, so they're licensing it from them. So Catalyst produces stuff, but that's too bad. It's got the rights of it are in a very funny relationship. But so take a look. I'll put a link to the if it's still available, which it probably will be, but take a look at the the actual page itself, it's pretty amazing that something like this is out there in the wild, and you can actually buy it on a web store. You
Sorry,
don't
I was thinking, imagining the whole Spice Dow thing, and thinking some dumbass would buy the Shadowrun logo artwork and then say, "I own this, right?"
That's right.
Right?
Well,
no, you don't.
Yeah, they did specify the article that I was reading that talked about this is this just means you own this
piece
picture.
of artwork.
Yes,
Yep.
you don't
do not own anything.
the rights to anything.
Yeah.
It's like, now I own the game. Shadowrun is now mine. Yeah, I thought it was very, very funny. So it was Dana Knutson was the FASA, the former FASA art director that had this, and so opportunity of a lifetime, the original art. And usually you do have to deal with art dealers and galleries and stuff to get anywhere near this kind of stuff. So so it's a 39 by 28 framed piece. And it also it's already engraved with a plaque that lists the artists that worked on it and everything. Cool. So yeah, it's a neat, it's a really neat kind of artifact from like 1989 or something. Yeah. It's quite a ways, but stuff like that is cool when it comes up. And so it was just one of those oddities that popped up that I thought would be fun.
We're buying it, right?
Yeah. We're gonna, if the Patreon comes through, that's gonna be our goal. We're setting the next tier for $35,000.
Yeah,
we only need one $30,000 patron and then two 2,500, and then we're set. So
you've set up those levels, right?
Yeah, those are all set. So anybody that's and then we'll put it right here. It'll be right here.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's interesting, but it also shows. So Noble Knights is kind of like the Mile High Comics of tabletop RPG. They have everything, and so that you can really find graded copies of all kinds of old RPGs and stuff. So it's really neat. So they deal in a lot of new stuff, but then also huge archives of older books. And so now getting into art and even like, smaller periphery kind of like, telephone sketches and stuff is really cool. That's, because that is part of the history of the hobby. So it's fun that they're actually thinking about, including that stuff too. So just the same way you dig for old books, you can dig for old sketches of,
I kind of miss going to look at books and just kind of like trolling through stuff.
Yeah. Those days are sadly very over in a lot of cases. All right, but it is a new year, and so we're anticipating some great releases this year, right? So it's 2023
to be released. Okay.
Yes, so anticipated. So NWorld had their usual vote for the most anticipated games, and so my inbox is full of emails. Vote for us, hey guys, vote for us. So if you backed a Kickstarter or you bought something from somebody, they're like, hey, don't forget to vote for us for most anticipated game. So the results are in.
Ooh.
So we've got the top 10.
This is kind of like by fans, right?
Yes, this is all just registered users of the website. So it's just gamers and fans, and so who knows how much you can you can bot this vote, but it's no Bodie McBoatface. That one didn't win. But so number 10 was the Monty Python, Exalted Funerals, Monty Python's co-curricular medieval reenactment program, and that had a Kickstarter, so we'll see that'll be out this year. Number 9 was the Old Gods of Appalachia, the Monty Cup game. That looked interesting, but
it's this kind of the cipher system.
Yes.
Just kind of meh.
Yeah. So there were things about it, the idea and the setting, and the fact that it was based on a podcast that was based on Appalachia. Or we talked about it last year, but it was interesting. But we'll see. Number 8 was the Imperial Maledictum from Cubicle 7.
Oh, the Warhammer 40,000 kind of like investigatory game.
Yes.
We think,
Right. Yeah, the kind of maybe their answer to Dark Heresy. Yeah. The next one is the one that's made me worry very much. The Walking Dead universe by Freely.
People obviously want to see it.
Yeah, it's 7. Yeah, number 7. Number 6 is Shadow of the Weird Wizard, which was a little bit odd. This is Rob Schwab. Shadow of the Demon Lord. Shadow of the Demon Lord. This is a family-friendly version of Shadow of the Demon Lord.
Sorry, man. I don't know how you can make a family-friendly version of Shadow of the Demon Lord. Like, I'm not going to badmouth it. Like, it didn't seem like anything special to me. And I was turned off by there being a spell that can make someone shit themselves to death. And I was like, no. Okay, moving on. Anyway, how are you going to family-friendly that up? I don't know.
Yeah. So the Weird Wizard is an eccentric character who lives in Clockwork City and whose magic has transformed the lands. So I have a feeling maybe he's a new father or something. Why would there be like a sudden need to like want to make a family-friendly game? Or maybe just seeing an untouched market.
I don't know. I side-eye any family-friendly game that's still about like physical violence, right?
Right.
Like
and demons.
Yeah. Well, I think it's like great when you see parents being like, "Oh yeah, I played D&D with my 5-year-old, or I played this with my kids," and I'm like, "It's great you're doing something together." I'm kind of judging you about a game rooted in violence, right?
Right.
So,
Right.
anyway.
Yeah. Learn how to thrust with that sword,
Yeah,
son. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Number 5, Mothership 1E, the first official edition of that. So that's coming. That's on the way from Tuesday Night Games. And 4 is Household, the first release. This was originally, I think, released in Italian, but this is the first release of Command's kind of RPG department, the Italian studio that's handling the development of a lot of Command stuff. And so yeah, that looked really good. It looked very like a lush, kind of gorgeous production, and of course because they work with Command, they did miniatures and stuff. But yeah, so that's Two Little Mice. 3 is 13th Age, second edition.
Okay,
so Pelgrane Press. 2 is Dragonbane.
So the Swedish
English
one.
English edition. So that's a free league release. I'm excited and looking forward to. So 2 is Dragonbane, and 1 is King Arthur's Pendragon. So the 6th edition. The
Sixth edition.
Yeah, Chaosium is releasing that. So that's not surprising, because I think that keeps coming up. Pendragon kept coming up on and off. So obviously there was interest in it, and so Pendragon was. Oh, and so it's been. That's funny. So it's number 1, but this is the 3rd year running that it's been on the list. So it's been in development for a while.
Oh, right. Okay.
So 6E was number 4 in 2021, number 3 in 2022, and finally topping the charts at hopefully the year it's released.
Hopefully, yeah.
The most anticipated. Yeah, so this is, of course, the original Pendragon created by Greg Stafford in the 80s. So this will be the updated version of that.
I do kind of want to try that because of the some kind of like generational system, right? Like that's the part that stands out to me. Like seeing like how kind of like your family or lineage kind of progresses, moves it away from other kind of just hack and slash medieval RPGs for me. So
no, that's true. And Chaosium, they produce nice books. They've got great art, and it's a good company to support. So we'll see. We'll see what shows up and how any of this pans out. Hopefully there'll be some playable
number
stuff.
1 in 2024 too.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Pendragon still on the list. All right. And the other thing that 2023 has brought us is Dungeon23.
Yes, which I'm doing.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Nice. Yeah, we have an advantage here because in Japan we have really good schedule books, like the daily schedule books.
Yep. We're also a day ahead of everybody else. So like if you miss a day, I'm like, I still got 18 hours to finish my thing, and it's still the day.
Excellent.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, because there's so many books that have a week planner and then a page of graph paper on the other side.
I got mine in my bag over there. Yeah. I specifically got one with graph paper. Yeah.
So what is Dungeon23?
I'm pretty sure Dungeon23 is just kind of a daily challenge thing by I think it's Sean McCoy.
Yes,
I think the guy who did Mothership, right? And just it started as a little thing where he said, "I'm going to do a room a day, and at the end of the year, I'll have a mega dungeon, right? And join me if you want." And that's basically all it is.
Right. Yeah, they said he did a tweet about that, and then people were like, I want to do that too.
So, with that voice, I want to do that too.
Everybody, it was like a chorus of that voice. And so just basically a daily writing practice to just keep the creative juices flowing and do stuff. And so there was an article about it from Gizmodo that I think did a nice job of explaining like how to approach it. Of course, on the subreddit and various, I think on Twitter and things, they keep talking about, relax, enjoy this. This is something to be creative. This is not something to stress you out and something to like, ruin your day because you haven't done it yet. And the other interesting advice that I saw was it doesn't have to be a dungeon. Nope. You can think outside of that box. It's called Dungeon23, but there's so many other settings and so many things that it could actually be.
Pardon me. I think it's also spawned like Station 23 if you want to do sci-fi stuff, or City 23 if you want to do like city crawl. But yeah, it could be basically anything. And it does. There was a bit of negativity I saw recently. It does kind of seem like, okay, like any kind of daily challenge, there was an explosion of productivity and people maybe trying to cash in on it, maybe not nefariously, but people saying, okay, here's my own little notebooks that I made, or here's links to like kind of the notebooks that I use, right? Or here's some like logos or stuff you want to use, right?
Yeah.
And like, on the one hand, that's fine. People are excited to make stuff for this thing. And I saw people being kind of negative about like, oh, they're just like cashing in. And like, okay, maybe some people are cashing in, but it doesn't, not everything is this nefarious capitalist.
Yeah, right.
Whatever. Right? And I kind of said that. I'm like, given how it started, just the guy saying, I'm doing this. And a bunch of people saying, me too, right? But like any daily challenge, like if you're someone who's kind of like me and are going to feel like bummed out after like missing a day or whatever, like maybe don't do it, right?
Right.
No one has a gun to your head saying you must do this. This is just, you're not going to come up with something fantastic. And I think in even the blog post, like Sean's like, okay, look, sometimes if you don't have enough time, just put day whatever, empty room, and move the fuck on.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's just something to try and get you into the habit of a schedule for daily output.
Yeah,
Right? Because building the habit of being creative is the hardest part of being creative.
Yeah, right. No, that's a good point. Yeah, and the point they also made in the Gizmodo article is you could literally skip 100 days and you'll still have a 250 room dungeon.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
So yeah, it's not something that it's actually necessary, but it is like trying to develop that habit and just kind of giving yourself a purpose and giving kind of like a deadline to do things is really helpful. And the other thing that they recommended is maybe before going into it, think about a system maybe that you wanted to use. So some of the recommendations, of course, were Into the Odd, Trophy Gold, Mothership, Troika, Morkbjorg, Primal Quest, and so a lot of the that kind of consideration. So not the world's greatest roleplay game, but other systems. So think about developing for a specific system, and that might help help you flavor it or help come up with.
I never thought about doing Trophy Gold. Speaking of which,
yes,
my copy of Oof. Oh, it's kind of hard to see.
Oh, nice.
Trophy Gold, Trophy Lumen, and Trophy Dark all showing up, right? Okay, spoilers. I got writing credits in here.
Oh,
but
nice.
That's why I got it, right? But like Trophy Gold would be interesting to develop for because you don't really need like a traditional dungeon map. You would need kind of just like it's Trophy Gold areas are more like flow charts where it's just like area, and how they connect with important things that are in them. So that would be pretty cool because I'm doing, like I have a little dungeon morph generator that's like D88 and I'm just rolling randomly saying, I'm not coming up with like my own stuff. I'm just like rolling randomly on these charts, putting it together, and that's my entry for the day, right? But it is kind of a bit of a traditional map. You wouldn't have to. You could just draw a box, say like laboratory, and a couple notes of what's in it,
right.
if you wanted to.
Oh, interesting.
And then just connection points to blah, blah, blah. And then at the end of the month, do a level. That was the other thing. Like if you wanted to, at the end of the month, that's a level.
Yes.
And then the next month is the next level if you wanted to, or just have a giant sprawling 356 room mega dungeon.
Right.
And
Yeah. So interesting. And the other suggestions that they were talking about is it can be a space station, it can be a mega prison, a palace, a city, a forest, a theme park.
Mega prison. That's depressing.
Yeah, right. And or a massive tree that reaches the stratosphere. Yeah. So
nice.
I like the Gizmodo had a lot of kind of good recommendations and kind of collected a lot of people's advice and what people were doing for this project. But yeah, so if you're thinking about, I think actually the OSR, Rob, the OSR GM is going to be doing that.
Oh, nice.
As kind of the, this will be the dungeon we play with kind of original D&D characters.
Next year.
Yeah, next year. Yes. To celebrate.
Or even after a month, right?
Oh yeah, you could already
That'd
start.
be pretty cool.
You could definitely start it when it's still in progress. All right, but another OSR, another classic. So there's a great Humble Bundle available. So new perils for classic dungeon crawls.
Ooh, that sounds cool.
Yeah, so we've got another week for this. So Cursed Tombs, Ancient Gods, and Glory. So Dungeon Crawl Classics. So Goodman Games Dungeon Crawl Classics, huge bundle. So it's 30 books for $18. And of course, this is supporting the Starlight Children's Foundation. So chronic illness for kids. And it's a huge, it's basically a lot of their best adventures, some good funnels that they have, the core rule book, the Game Master screen, everything in digital form. And of course, it's Humble Bundle, so it's all DRM free. Yep. And also they included the collections of fantasy fiction. Oh, cool. What is it called? The Sorcerer, what is it? I'm totally...
Some kind of mad wizard thing?
Yes, the Magician's Skull. So yeah, there's I think a few issues of the fantasy fiction Magician's Skull collection. So some inspiration for your game settings and just kind of atmosphere. Yeah, so the judges screen, the core rule book, and as well as some of their Gen Con guides and things that so materials that were done specifically for Gen Con and. Yeah, so a lot of stuff available, and always, Goodman Games. That's not ever cheap, so this is a good chance. Yeah, this is when bundles like this come out. If you're curious about Dungeon Crawl Classics, this is a good chance.
Or even if you're not, because I mean, like I've read Dungeon Crawl Classics I haven't read the cover to cover, but I was like, okay, it's something, right? Like, I know people love
best
it.
critical tables in the game.
I was just kind of like,
in the business.
Right? Nothing jumped out at me for the system, but the modules. Right, like I've used like 3, 4, 5 of the different modules adapted for Dungeon World when I was running Dungeon World, and then you got to like file off the numbers, right? Because they don't kind of matter anymore. But for kind of like old school hack and slash dungeon crawly adventures, those things are great.
Yeah,
right? And you could use them really for any system, depending on how much work you put into them. Maybe not the world's greatest RPG, but something else.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, so as usual with the Humble Bundles, 3 levels. So the whole thing for 18, about half of it for 10, and three books for $1.
Wow.
So yeah, so I'll put a link to that and check that out. And that also supports the our podcast here.
So maybe go check it out.
Yeah, with affiliate, with our affiliate code. So yeah, thanks for supporting us if you decide to do that. And so it's a good opportunity to try another system, and that's what we all should be doing this year.
Yes.
So instead of a room a week, it should be a system a month. We should be trying to keep.
Imagine having the free time to be able to do that.
Oh, I know. Wouldn't that be great? Yeah. Excellent. Okay, so that's all for this week. And so before this cast, we had a little bit of discussion of the latest, hottest news, but we're going to try to keep that out of the main podcast. So go take a look at our live stream on Twitch or YouTube if you want to hear that. But otherwise, we'll keep doing this.
2023 will be D&D free.
Yes, the D&D free for 2023. Nice. So where can people find you?
On Twitter until it collapses, or Instagram, which is the same thing. That's Hivemind, HYVEMYND, where I'm doing Dungeon23. Not posting every day because that would be kind of a lot, and I'm also posting up pics of the Stargrave crew that I'm painting.
Oh, excellent. Great.
How about you?
Oh, and I am still doing my single panel gag cartoon. So I did the first live stream for the year just this week.
Yay.
And that's Abuse Cartoons on both Twitch and YouTube. And so that I just draw the cartoon and chat and then eat snacks from the Japanese convenience stores just to break up the monotony.
Break up the sound.
And if you'd like to support what we're doing here on the weekly, please visit upturntable.com. That's where all of our videos reside. New episodes of the Blade Runner actual play. I did an unboxing. Nice. All the physical stuff arrived for Blade Runner, so I did a big long unboxing and a flip through of the book. So if you're really curious about the system and didn't support it, take a look at that because you can see basically everything that's involved and really the nice job that Freely did producing those.
They make nice books.
Yes, very good. And if you want to support us even more, patreon.com/upturntable and become a weekling.
The strongest of all supporters.
Yes. Yeah. And let us know what you'd like to see, more or less of certain topics.
Don't say D&D. Don't say D&D unless it's less. Unless it's less, don't say D&D.
And so that'll help us a lot to kind of improve what we're doing and cover exactly what you want to see on the show. So thanks for joining us, and we'll be doing this again next week.
Yeah. Later, mortals.
Goodbye.
Ooh.
Be right back. All right. So we're back, and let me catch up with the chat. Oh, so yeah, that was cool. I didn't know Chris was doing Dungeon23. That's very cool. Yeah, so I think Rob too, if you're listening, I'm curious to see. Hopefully, you're sharing. You'll be sharing online what you're working on. But I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Yeah, I think we're not going to meet for a couple of weeks still, but that should be good. Oh, good. Yeah, Griff said Simon PBS on Twitter. Oh, they blocked Griff. Oh man, I that PBS piece really did feel like a hit piece. That's really great. That they. It's really great that people are noticing that. It's really terrible that PBS, I mean, a publicly funded, government funded or donation funded media is. Oh, hey, K5, nice. Good to see you. 12 months, a year. Thank you so much. Wow. It's another thing, of course. I always forget to mention. I'm talking to patrons now, but anybody that's watching this from the archive, so aside from the Patreon, YouTube members have the same benefit. And K5 has been here a year. Wow. Thank you so much. 12 months. All right. So, yeah, it's crazy. I'm curious to see if some good stuff comes out of Dungeon23 and by what, like June, if people are still doing it. Alvaro said, I like Dungeon Crawl Classics, but it's too gonzo for vanilla original D&D fans. Yeah, maybe that's true. It's definitely got its own fun flavor, but it may not be to everyone's taste. Griff said, there's a magic door in my dungeon named Isidore. Nice. Excellent. Knob jokes. Nice. Well, very cool. It's good to see everyone for the back in the new year. Cool. Yeah, and so Griff is one of the directors of the Secrets of Blackmoor. So if you don't know about that, a great documentary about the original Blackmoor group and the kind of early days of fantasy role play. So the first dungeon and first kind of original group in that area in Wisconsin doing that thing. So it's definitely worth. So it's Dave Arneson and everybody. So it's worth checking out. You can get that video on demand on both Amazon Prime and Vimeo, I believe. Very cool. Hey, Sir Matt, your message was redacted. Miguel said, Chris is such an optimist. Nice. The Dio of 40K. Excellent. A lot of 40K jokes. Hey, that was another thing I was considering, is not talking any Games Workshop. So not talking about Wizards or Games Workshop for a year. But I don't think we're going to be able to get away with it because they're always doing something nonsense. Yeah, Matt said, come for the D&D criticism, stay for the GW hate. Yeah, that was something. Chris had a tweet about like being more positive and focusing on the creativity and the enjoyable part of the hobby, but still they pull us back in. Nice. Yeah, everybody's got a backlog of GW miniatures sitting in their gray plastic shame. Very cool. So Abyss said, if you own 2 Kill Teams sets, then you're good to go. You mean that one of the Kill Team sets that sold out within the first 30 minutes worldwide? Yeah, that's right. They had a few sellouts, and then a few. It's interesting though. I think speaking of Games Workshop, I think they had some artificial. They've tried to. They're really nursing that FOMO thing, and they've had a few sets recently that haven't sold well at all. So you're getting these eBay like overstock sellers that are selling things for half price for stuff that they hyped really hard, like the Dominion box for Age of Sigmar that has a ton of miniatures in it, but it just didn't sell. I think you can get that for under $100 now. So if you want to paint some swamp orcs, you're all set. Yes, there are a lot of boxes of stuff. Yes, Sir Matthew. Thanks for reminding us. Oh, are you in Australia? Yeah, that would make sense. Oh, yeah. The Blackmore documentary is excellent. So anybody that hasn't checked that out, and we did an interview with Griff a few years back. So there's that's on the channel on the audio podcast, as well as cut up pieces on the with some kind of graphic, some visual photos and stuff on the YouTube channel as well. Yeah, good stuff. So Sir Matthew says, in gaming, it will be nostalgia for us to see an unimaginable for a while. Yes, GW is getting their karma for milking the FOMO. Yeah, that's true. They're getting stuck. But the thing that's scary about Games Workshop is they don't have any problem with just like pulping stuff that doesn't sell. That's really sad. Someone was, I think it was a subreddit or something that was reading former GW workers were talking about how they used to sell overstock and old rule books and stuff would be deep discounted at the stores. Now they don't do that anymore because they don't want their old rule sets out there. They only want you to be playing their recent stuff. They only want you to be buying those current books. So all the old stuff is just they just destroy it. So it's getting more and more rare if you want to have older editions and you didn't buy them at the time. And I think people are starting to realize that there's a little bit of scarcity because the prices of some of the older books, older codexes and stuff is really crazy. So yeah, very disappointing. Oh, that's right. And they did, in some regions they did the supply drops or whatever. So random, getting rid of their overstock kits that didn't sell. Yeah, in Japan it was about $170. So not cheap, and but compared to the Japanese prices, it was a little bit of a discount. It's not as good as stuff I've seen from like Warlord Games or Mantic or whatever when they do their random stuff, and they do a really fun kind of combination of terrain and miniatures and all kinds of like just rare stuff. There's a couple unboxings on the channel actually of a couple of those boxes, but it seems still a bit overpriced for what you get. Sir Matthew says half a pile of shames from 20 years ago. I'm going to be working on that. I think I've got a sealed Necromunda over there that needs to be opened someday. It's really really depressing. Abyss said the Dominion box is a good value and the Horse Heresy is amazing value, but no one is buying it because everything else in the Horse Heresy is just overpriced. Yeah, that's true. That initial set that they released with the hardcover, I liked that they were doing the hardcover rule books. But and it doesn't sound. It sounds like Horse Heresy is kind of a flop. This version that the plastic version that they're doing because the rules sound a little funky, and they're not. There's units and things that aren't making it into plastic. Like they've really screwed up. Just like there's units that are still resin or even metal in some of the 40K codexes. They're having the same problem with not producing the plastic kits quickly enough. So what are you going to buy the crazy expensive resin just so you can play, just so you can play your army? Nice. Oh man. Yeah, right. And that's the problem too, is that random stuff from Games Workshop could be really bad stuff, and that just then encourages you to start an army you never really wanted to start. Oh man. Oh, Griffith asking, is Rob? Sometimes Rob shows up. I think the notification for Facebook goes on, but we'll be doing some more. I think we're going to do Ravenloft. We're going to go take our old school D&D characters and do some Ravenloft this month. I think that's the plan because we just finished some RuneQuest. We did a nice the 6 seasons in Satyr, the short kind of introductory campaign for that, and that was really fun. And so now I think we're gonna be going back to some old school. Oh, great. Oh, thanks, Griff. Yeah. So Griff said the review of Tonisberg was hugely useful marketing tool. Posted it all over. Yeah, thank you. It's gotten a lot of views. I appreciate that very much. Yeah, it was really fun. It was that book is amazing. It was even more than I hoped for, because it's so complete. I think you did a really good job of making it, kind of an artifact, like having the color plates were great. I was so cool to see the original maps with color plates, plus there's a system to play the game, and then the advice for dungeon masters. It was a really great, like, complete package. I can't believe you did that at the same time that you were doing the Secrets of Blackmoor. That seemed like a ton of work, but that was really good. Sir Matthew is in Chiba. Nice. Anyone with the Necron half of Indominus. Nice. Oh, thanks. Yeah, Griff. Yeah, I'd love to. I'd love to talk to you again sometime. That would be really fun to. Because I'm curious how because you guys did the Kickstarter for the second edition, the second printing of Tonisborg. I'm curious how that went and kind of what the plans are for the future. It's good stuff. Oh, interesting. The original Warhammer Fantasy board game prices have gone up. Yeah, I think a lot of... Matt had an early talisman. That's cool. Early talisman. Nice. Oh, wow. Yeah, Griff says that people give him so many games. He's going to be giving away some pretty valuable games at GaryCon. Very cool. Oh, my God. Yeah. I wasn't... I kind of was late into Warhammer 2 because it was when I was growing up, nobody was playing it. It was all tabletop role playing in metal miniatures. And then by the time I think Warhammer was really popular, I was distracted and maybe too poor as a university student to even think about it. So it wasn't until after I started working that I started wasting money on stuff like that. Oh, Matt gave away an original talisman. Oh, man. Nice. Yeah, because in early miniatures, it was all Ralpartha and Grenadier. Like, there wasn't much Citadel. I think it was just, and it just depends on like what your local hobby store and stuff is when you're growing up. What you have access to, because I was always in like small towns or suburbs, so never had big access to some of the big titles. So Sir Matthew said it's so sad to see the new Hero Quest be lackluster. The old games like Warhammer Quest were golden age. Yeah, that's true. I really was disappointed in the re-release of Hero Quest, and HeroScape didn't even make it back. It didn't even come back. So it's it's a shame. Oh, wow. Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay first edition complete set too. Oh, Matt. Yeah, somebody somebody in Japan was just was putting the hardcover books for Enemy Within campaign and a lot of really classic first edition stuff on one of the auction sites in Japan. It was going for almost 200, like 150, between 150 and 200 per book. So those things, because it was in Japan, they're in pristine shape. So always, and I think people have figured that out. Japanese auction sites have a lot of treasures because either people here or Japanese collectors keep things in such good condition. The only problem is with books and stuff, you have to be careful of like mildew and mold damage because it's so wet here that unless things are carefully stored. I'm really surprised the level of kind of staining, like mildew stain and stuff in used books in Japan, just because it's such a thing you have to deal with. But that's crazy. As a collector and a hoarder of cool stuff, this hurts me. Oh, man. Yeah, that's right, Miguel. The old story. Yes, you started miniatures as a hobby when you were a teen, moved to girls in college, and now in your middle age, you found out girls were a mistake. Yes, as did we all. Nice. Yeah, right. Yeah, the print on demand. Uh, wow. So I was looking at the Warhammer Fantasy. So they're very tempting. Yeah. Wow. Sold for $180. Yeah, I think a lot of those old books, and I think the price is going up because they're old enough too that a lot of the bindings and a lot of the books are kind of giving way. So if you can find something in good condition, it's probably pretty valuable because fewer and fewer decent quality copies still exist. Miguel says miniatures will never betray you. Dice, on the other hand. Nice. You can only rely on game science, says Griff. Yes, very true. Oh yeah. No, I definitely want to play. So I've got a copy, and sorry, I've got a copy, and Rob has a copy in the OSR group. So hopefully we'll get to play that. And Griff even, I saw a comment in our the Tonus board flip through. Griff even said he may be willing to run that. So if we can get a remote game going, that would be amazing. Wow. Originals from 77. That's so cool. Yeah, it's surprising. Depending on the quality, like what the companies decided to do as far as the quality of binding and everything, stuff that survives and stuff that just didn't. And I'm also surprised how many people kind of give up on the a binding aging well and just cut books and then put them in loose leaf binders. There's so many. You see it on auction sites, so many things like that, people selling. It's like, oh, you totally butchered. Okay, of course the binding maybe gave way, but you totally butchered a book and put it in a 3-ring binder. That's brutal. Yeah, Sir Matthew, that's a good point. Yeah, new TSR. We haven't heard anything for a while from some of that. Matt's reading Frontier Space right now. It's an homage to Star Frontiers, but without the racist twists of the old DSR people. Nice. Yeah, so we'll we definitely have to do some Tonusborg this year. That would be a good that'd be a great thing to do. So hopefully, I'll see what's going on with the OSR group and what. But yeah, oh, cool. So they're figuring out. Griff says they're figuring out what to publish next. Very cool. Wow. Yeah, so it's great to be back. It'll be an interesting year. There's some good stuff coming out. I really liked Dragonbane. We played the quick start. I gotta get that as a actual play. I should get that online because they had a lot of decent maps and graphics and stuff. So people that don't know that system, I think it's a decent thing to try because it's a really interesting combination of the old school kind of basic role play that original Dragons and Demons used in Sweden. It's got a little bit of 5e in there, and also, of course, the Year Zero engine. So it's a really good combination. You can push rolls with consequences, but there's some really interesting stuff. But plus, there's also advantage and disadvantage. So yeah, it's interesting. I really like watching each system that Free League does and like what they learn from previous systems and what they use to adapt to new settings and things. And I think Dragonbane is a real I was worried because it wasn't going to be an original system, but the original system is just basic roleplay. But I was worried that it wasn't going to be very authentic, but I think they have learned so much, and they also want to kind of pay tribute to the old system so that it's going to feel old school enough, but have some of their refinements and some of the things that Free League's been able to do with their newer games. So yeah, I'm excited about that very much. So where did we go? There we go. Yes, yes. Wow. Oh, interesting. Yeah, tons of old retro games that were redacted by TSR or not published. Yeah, somebody was saying that we're going to go back to the days where TSR is they sue regularly, is what it used to stand for. So maybe, yeah, Wizards is going to, with the new OGL, they're going to become much more litigious again to try to get their piece of the market. Yeah, it's really weird though to it's funny how companies, you have that like with music piracy and movie piracy and stuff. You have that discussion where, you know, these weren't customers anyhow. People that are illegally downloading stuff weren't customers anyhow. And you have that same sort of thing where people that are supporting a hobby and doing actual play series or, you know, producing homebrew and things that they want to sell, they're spreading, you know, your system. They're spreading the word. They're spreading the good kind of good feelings and support of your system, and that's free. That's, you know, you're basically getting that for free. It's not money that you would have ever had, and I can't believe you know, Wizards of the Coast is like looking at Critical Role and saying, oh, we need some of that money. They're getting rich, and why isn't that us? That's a little scary that they could actually not just see that. I mean, Critical Role has been, there's so many people that have, younger people that have said the only reason they were interested in Dungeons and Dragons is because of that Critical Role series. And that's, you can't, there's no advertising or any amount of money they could have spent to produce those kind of results. So they should just be thankful that that even happened, instead of saying, well, you guys should probably pay us royalties. You should pay us royalties for liking us and you know, basically introducing so many people to that. Yeah, Christopher saying, yeah, it's hypothetical money that Hasbro thinks they're losing out on. Yeah, that's really crazy thinking. But I guess, you know, a lot of people were saying that you know, they have a false idea of how valuable and what the long-term kind of outlook for Dungeons and Dragons is, because it is, you buy those 3 books and you basically don't have to buy anything more for every new edition. And so there is a limitation. There is only so much, you know, monetization you can get out of players in the hobby. So no matter how big the hobby gets, it still has that limit that the more creative and the more people want to make it their own, the less money they're going to give you. So they've just got to convince people to stop being creative and only play published adventures and do it digitally and pay the subscription to do it. So yeah, it's going to be, it'll be different from what happened with 4th edition D&D, but it's going to be another weird schism where people that are, you know, going to very willingly go off into this subscription based, like, walled garden of whatever one D&D is going to be, and then people that want to play, you know, around a table with people. And I think just like with the board game kind of renaissance, the golden age for board gaming came from the desire to socialize, you know, to be physically in a room with people and enjoy the, you know, the socialization of the hobby, as opposed to you know, yeah, just wanting to I don't know, just wanting to be nerdy. You can do that in other ways, but I don't know what's going to happen. Nice. If Critical Role, so Sir Matthew says, I'll show the comment if Matt missed that. Sir Matthew said, if Critical Role turns their back on Hasbro, or turns their back, yeah, the Hasbro is in bad shape. Yeah, I got to be careful because YouTube has gotten more strict on profanity. So here's hoping. Yeah, that they really are huge ambassadors. I mean, that's probably the best word, is ambassadors for that brand. Yeah, right. Yeah, the stuff that they've been releasing, it's, I mean, even people that are really dedicated, like when like a few of their most recent releases, even people really dedicated and faithful to 5e are like, this is pretty weak. This is pretty, like the Spelljammer, no ship combat in the Spelljammer book. Like it's people are getting suspicious that they don't really know what they're doing. Griff says they act like it's the consumer's fault that they aren't making cash hand over fist anymore. Yeah, I really think those are really bad numbers. That spike that happened during the kind of lockdowns that everyone was dealing with, and how people turned to virtual tabletops more than because they couldn't meet face to face. I think that gave some companies a very false sense of the future is so bright. It's really funny. Sir Matthew said, I played D&D for about 30 years now. Never needed new books, and but we wanted more. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I wonder what, I don't know. I can't think of like what's in a position to, if one D&D really screws things up and really makes people, like what would be the default? Like what would people, it's kind of like the situation with Twitter, like where are people going to go if they want to get off of Twitter, where they're going to go. There's nothing that's like a close second place right now in popularity. I mean, in quality and fun and and community and stuff. There's a lot of good options, but I can't think of like what would be the easiest step off of the Wizards out of the Wizards ecosystem. Yeah. Oh, that's right. The new D&D movie. That's right. It's no D&D movie if there's no Jeremy Irons chewing the scenery. That's right. Yeah, I can't imagine what's his face, Hugh whatever, the British actor that's in it. I don't think he's going to quite give us the performance of Jeremy Irons. Yeah. Yeah, and they just I think they just, and Dragonlance, yeah. Yeah, that's right. Dragonlance is in the process of coming out too, and I haven't heard any reviews or anybody talking. I thought that was odd though that they released that kind of board game system to do the kind of mass battles for Dragonlance as a board game, and you have to have that board game to play that part of the campaign. Yeah, I don't know. That's a little odd. Nice. Griff says, yeah, Excalibur is the D&D movie. Yeah. Somebody recently did a comparison. They showed screens, like screen caps from Excalibur, and compared that to the stuff that we're seeing as far as like costume and armor and things from the latest fantasy shows, for like the Willow show and the Rings of Power and all the current fantasy stuff we're getting on streaming. And it's like night and day. I can't believe in the 80s they could do better fantasy costuming than they can now with all this weird CW, young adult drama that they're calling fantasy now. Oh, Dragon Slayer. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the dragon in Dragon Slayer was amazing for that, for the time. That was just like, because we didn't have any we hadn't seen CG Smaug yet, or anybody. Yeah, Hugh Grant, that's right. Yeah, Chris Pine. Yeah, Chris Pine is going to be holding that movie together. It's so sad though, because they were showing, Hasbro was showing like the figures that they're making, the merchandising that they're doing for the D&D movie, and it just looks terrible. It looks really half-assed and really unappealing. So adult collectors are not going to be interested in it, and it's not going to bring kids, like that merchandise is not going to bring kids into, make kids curious about that at all. So it's crazy. Goblin Slayer is the D&D movie we need. Yeah, Miguel has got a whole different take on dungeon crawling and how to deal the perils of dealing with goblins. Oh, interesting. Yeah, Twister as a quest-driven movie. Interesting. Yeah, I wonder what's going to happen. Crazy. Oh, Dark Crystal. Yeah, 80s Dark Crystal. That's a D&D movie. Yeah, that's true. That had a that was very quest-based. Yeah, what was it? Labyrinth just came on. Speaking of like Jim Henson amazing puppet stuff. Labyrinth was just on Japanese Netflix or something, and I forgot how like those free like puppets, those costumes that were like, you know, animatronic faces, and but an actor was like actually walking around and doing stunts and things. It's amazing like where that got to, and then it just disappeared once CG kind of took over and people could just wear capture suits and then be replaced. All of that amazing like real world puppet technology and design just kind of disappeared. Wow. Robot Holocaust is the D&D movie nobody should be forced to watch. Nice. Oh, that's right. Yeah, Netflix did do a Dark Crystal series. I didn't get past, I think, the first episode of that. It was the pacing and stuff. I think they were really skewing it too heavily to kids or something, because the pacing was really strange, and yeah, the story didn't move at all. But that's right. Yeah, they screwed up because I think it got canceled. But yeah, they tried to do a Dark Crystal series. Of course, Netflix screwed that up. It's brutal. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Dave, I know, that's insane. And it's so funny that David Bowie agreed to do that, because it's like, it is kind of a bit of a musical, because there's David Bowie music in like throughout the whole thing. And it's just so funny when it's the tone of it. It's just all of that Jim Henson Studio stuff is a little bit darker, you know, than you think, or than you would expect for kids stuff. And then to have Bowie music in it, yeah, it was very funny. That tone is very, very unique, and I don't think they can do anything like that again. Now everyone is opening a window to watch Robot Holocaust. Yeah, Matt has said, see, all you have to do is check with Matt and see what Matt is enjoying on Netflix, and then you know what they're going to cancel next, because everything that Matt loves on Netflix doesn't get a second season. Yeah, it's funny that they the way that they rate shows, or the way that they don't like give shows a chance to find an audience. I guess they just can't. Streaming is a totally different market, so maybe they can't. But so many strange one-season shows, and those are just going to be kind of strangely orphaned and probably just disappear from those services. And if they never had a physical media release, and if it was just one season, why would they do that? If it never goes to Blu-ray or anything, then once it leaves Netflix, it's just gone forever. That's really depressing. How much of that is, it's just going to disappear. And you're going to have these like weird, vague memories of streaming series, and yeah, they're just gone. Wow. Oh yeah, Forbidden Lands. Yeah, decent media could be a 5e killer. Yeah, we're playing Forbidden Lands right now. Matt's running that. It's good stuff. Yeah, I like that system a lot. I think that's really fun to play. Griff says, I'm not seeing the D&D movie. Already read the book. Yeah, this is going to be, because we've got the D&D, that documentary, just that big weird promotion piece that they're going to do coming out. And then we've got the movies in springtime too. So with just a couple of months, and we're going to see how badly that flops. Oh, man. Yeah, that's true. I think that is the problem with a lot of the streaming stuff, is a lot of that media, they're trying to redo it, or kind of you're not going to be able to capture any of that. I guess there's the nostalgia. They're using the names and the brands and the recognizable IPs to lure people in with the nostalgia, but you're never going to be able to capture that original thing. So yeah, it's just very weird. I think even something like Stranger Things, it was kind of aping or imitating, Goonies and like Spielberg kind of 80s kids movies, but it became its own thing. And if it doesn't do that, it became a product of this time, with its weird nostalgia stuff. And I don't think I think that's the rare exception to trying to revive something, because it's just it's very odd. Oh, nice. Matt is prepping as we speak. That's right. We're going to be playing again soon. We are recording it. Yes. Yeah. So our Forbidden Lands, and we even recorded our session 0. So I should. Yeah. I've got to get that edited, because that's actually not very long. So that would be a good thing to release early as some promotion. Oh, cool. Avara's playing Raven's Purge. Very cool. A D&D killer needs to be D20 and more vanilla. Oh, interesting. Yeah. That's an interesting point. Avara, yeah, that's true, because the setting for Forbidden Lands is kind of dark and not so generic. I think they have an interesting take on fantasy. But yeah, you're right. It's a little bit maybe for people coming from very generic Forgotten Realms, it might not hit them the right way. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Dragonbait has D20s. Yeah, that would be great if I'm curious to see how that's going to be received, how Dragonbait is going to do. Yeah, it's funny. Oh, a relaunch or a better written version of the Dark Eye. Yeah, that's the German system. Yeah, I wonder. I was just asking somebody about that. Yeah, I haven't met anybody that has any experience with it. There was something that came up. Maybe it was like a bundle of holding or something for Dark Eye, and I was curious about it. Nice. Oh, it's right. The new season of The Witcher. Oh no. I don't know. I just started reading the books. I hadn't ever read any of the books before, and I like the tone of the books. I played the games, but hadn't read the original stories, and I like how episodic and how the stories work. And I can see eventually they got it right as far as like how that translated well into Witcher 3, especially like the quests and stuff in Witcher 3. But I don't know. I think they're really that Blood Origins or whatever, that non-Geralt related, the prequel, I guess, that prequel series, that was really bad. I mean, that felt like poorer quality, and maybe they pulled their budget. Oh, they played with their budget and really cut things down, because it was only four episodes, and that felt like below like one of those UPN, like was that UPN, like the Hercules and Xena and all that stuff, that 90s stuff. It felt like a step below that as far as like production levels and stuff. It was really, really bad. Like the CG was just a complete joke. It really looked like the 90s. Like, I can't believe like somebody could have done that on their laptop. Some of the like the portals and things that they did for that was pretty brutal. That's right. Yeah. Yep. Henry Cavill is doing 40K now, so hopefully that would be anything is better than Rings. Yeah, I don't know, Rings of Power. Oof, that's really funny. There's still people talking about that. Yeah, I haven't got. Oh, you've read all the books. Oh wow, nice. Yeah, the translation for me, the only thing I'm running into with the Witcher books, the translation's a little wonky. I think there's a tone or something that seems to maybe have been lost in translation, because some of the phrasing and stuff is a little strange. So I think they're missing a tone in English, but I don't know the subtlety between Polish and English and what happened. Yeah. We definitely need something new and inspiring. And there's got to be something out there. It's just people. It's just got to get funded. Just recently, everything's been old IPs and stuff that they keep dusting off. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's I wonder. I wonder what that is with the Witcher books. The translation. It hurts it a little bit, but I like the getting the original story, how they set up the original story, because all of that I've gotten only from the games. Yeah, yeah. If they could, yeah. I think so the guys that were going to run that Amazon Conan show are doing House of the Dragon, so yeah, we won't have that same version back. Yeah, I don't know. That would be so, yeah, it would be really good. I wonder. Yes, a franchise. Uh, yeah, it's really weird, and I've seen some YouTubers that talk about a lot of the streaming shows and stuff, talking about the death of fantasy, and these like long sequence the starting with Wheel of Time and fantasy shows that have come out that have just disappointed and been weird low budget things about how they're kind of killing that genre and people aren't going to go near it. So we might have fantasy disappear for a while as far as series on streaming services. Maybe there's properties, because I think didn't Disney backed away. They were going to do there were a couple of series that were going to happen, newer fantasy series that they've totally backed away from. But everything, yeah, the tone of everything is so wrong, and everything is too young adult, in its tone, and there's no fantasy that was written with that kind of sensibility back then. So it's very hard when that happens. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, anime like run-on sentences. Yeah, yeah, it's an odd translation. Yeah, that's right. Amazon Studio had killed the Conan. Yeah, I think only HBO or somebody could really do justice to a Conan series. That's why I think Amazon doing Warhammer is going to be strange. Yeah, HBO before the new CEO. That's right, because it's got the Discovery guy, right? The guy that's like slashing everything now. Yeah, so everything is everyone's tightening their belts. All the streaming services are not funding the same kind of things anymore. No hope for King Conan. That's a shame. It would have been great if we could have gotten an Arnold, a King Conan movie with Arnold before. Oh, I guess he's hanging in there, so he looks old, and yeah, Disney doing Conan will be brutal. Yeah, right. You would definitely do it. Mm, mm, mm. Yeah, I still hope First Lost series never gets a screen adaptation. Yeah, that's true. Hopefully there are some things that, if fantasy kind of gets unpopular for streaming services as a genre, hopefully that means there'll be some protected some properties that weren't touched and ruined. Oh, that's right. They're doing a Red Sonja, aren't they? That's right. Yeah, Red Sonja was going to be the actress from Killjoys, the one that was she was also in that second Ant-Man movie. I can't think of her name, but I think they recast though. I think she got recast. If they remake Lady Hawk, we riot. That's right. uh, mm, mm, mm. Yeah, Abyss says the problem with making these great stories and making them into streaming shows, and they're not meant to be made in that format. That's true. Like taking these stories and watering them down and stretching them out, and just having like walking, talking, like conversation in hallways to just stretch out, because they spend the money on like the first episode and the last episode, and then all the rest they just have to stretch out. So you're getting like an 6 or an 8 hour movie of a story that would have been told much better in like a 2.5 hour feature length. Yeah, that's really true. I think that and they still don't know that streaming format is still so strange. I don't think anybody knows like exactly what to do with that. It's because they're so addicted now, because that's the thing that even doing with like Star Trek and everything, they're not doing episodic anymore. Everything has to be serial. It has to be a continuing, because they want you to, this binge culture, or they want you to be hooked, and they want to have social media buzz for weekly releases or whatever they're thinking. So nothing can be episodic anymore. Episodic television is kind of dead, because streaming series are all about keeping you either watching the entire show when it's all posted at once, or keeping you week to week, so that there's like social media attention. Yeah, that's right. Uh-oh. Miguel's admitting his childhood crush on Michelle Pfeiffer. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, Under the Skin. Yeah. That's a very haunting movie. Oh man. Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be an interesting year, and I hope it doesn't feel like we're out of anything yet. It doesn't feel like things have completely gone back to normal. It was slightly different. Like the holiday was slightly more normal here in Japan, but still we're having spikes, and still everyone's masked up. They're always masked up at this season, though, because it's this flu season as well. So I don't know what's going on. We'll see. Morbius was just the beginning, says Sir Matthew. The internet will eat those viral marketers like yakitori. Oh, that was hysterical, that weird attention, and how Sony re-released Morbius because of all of that weird meme attention it was getting. That's so funny. Yeah, I can't believe that happened. And then they tried to do it the next Minions movie that came out. They tried to do that same sort of thing where everyone was wearing suits and going to see a Minions movie, just so they could put themselves on Instagram. It's a Morbin time. Exactly. Yeah, I love somebody dummied up some scene from that movie and dubbed in the phrase "It's Morbin time," just because everyone. It made $1 billion more dollars, or more $billion. I forget what what that was at the time. Yeah, but that's true. I love when social media gets a hold of something and just and the real marketing people have no idea what to do when something like that takes off. Yeah. I was just thinking about that when I did the flip through of the Blade Runner RPG. Matt said Bowie would have been so good in 2049. So we can, in our version of Blade Runner, the head of Wallace Corporation will be David Bowie. But flipping through in that the portrait of Wallace, what's his face, the worst Joker, the worst, or I guess the best Morbius, was in there. And yeah, that's a heartbreaker. Immediately I thought of that is that would have been a great final role for David Bowie. That would have been very cool. That Rings of Power, yeah, cutting down trees and Rings of Power. Is that what the making elves cry comment is about? Oh yeah, I haven't figured. I'm still, so we've got 3 hours of audio left, and I'm not sure if that's going to make 1 or 2 episodes. Either one really big episode. I have to get to the point where it cuts and see if there's a good cliffhanger. There may not be a good cliffhanger, so it may be like a 90-minute or even almost 2-hour episode for the finale. Yeah, for the Blade Runner actual play, it might actually be, it's either 1 or 2 more episodes, but it's about 3 hours of audio, but it edits down, so we'll see. But yeah, maybe a big finale because people are enjoying it, and if they're going to listen to the whole thing, then maybe having a long finale episode won't be bad. Yeah, that's right. We could digitally replace actors now in movies, so David Bowie could make it in. Sir Matthew says Matt Smith needs to be in more trouble for making me care about Morbius. That's right. Yeah, totally. I just recently saw Morbius, so I totally forgot. I liked Matt Smith in House of the Dragon. His performance was really good, and totally forgot. So his performance in Morbius is very different. Mm. Nice. Oh, wow. All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for this week. Oh, yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah, Griff says, can we get back to talking about the lying that was going on in that PBS article? That was really strange. I really do have the feeling that Wizards of the Coast is going to kind of position themselves to say, yeah, anybody that's not down for what we want to do with D&D now is problematic. Anybody that is going to roll physical dice and use a pencil and paper, we can't deal with anymore. They're not our kind. Jared Leto, that's right. Oh, Abyss liked Jared Leto's Joker. Nice. Yes, old people. That's right. That should have just been the title of "Old People Are Bigots." Should have been the title of that article. Yeah, that was really, really strange. The tone of that. Well, and even that's the thing that people are talking about. So the reason I made that connection too between the PBS article and the new talk about the OGL 1.1 was that there's specific verbiage in the new OGL that talks about bigotry, sexist, any of the content being homophobic, sexist, or racist. They say racist and bigoted, so I'm not sure what the differentiation is. But they talk about that specifically in that open game license, so that gives them an option to say they revoke it. They can revoke that license if they, with these non-legal kind of unenforceable, judgments of your work, they can, just pull that. So if it is, if you're doing it as a source of income and you're producing things using that open game license, and they deem something to be, problematic, to be bigoted or homophobic or sexist or whatever, they can take it away. And so that's weird. That's almost like, that reminds me of like the morals clauses in like old movie star contracts in like the 40s and 50s, where you can just say, yeah, if you get caught doing something too terrible in the press, then we can cancel your contract. So that connection made me a little bit uncomfortable. Yeah, right. Yeah, that's true. They're gonna have to go back to all of the old Gygax written stuff and revoke the license on it. Yeah, defund PBS. It's weird. That does feel like a paid job. Yes, Sir Matthew. It was good to see you in the chat. TSRs entered the chat room. Yeah, it's crazy. And just like Chris and I were talking a little bit ago about the I forget who it was that said they're hiring. Oh no, I think it was Wizards hiring the sensitivity readers, the sensitivity editors after the Spelljammer kerfuffle. It's like there was no way, and there is no skilled enough sensitivity reader that is going to help you take every problematic thing, because anything can be problematic, or anything can be twisted or misconstrued to be wrong. So there is just no way to protect yourself from that. It will always happen. So yeah, I think it's crazy to have something like that in the game license itself, because someone is always going to call you on Twitter. Someone is always going to be able to call that out. It's crazy. Oh yeah, that's right. The OBGL. Oh, bigoted. I think they should have a different license for the bigoted, the old bigoted crowd. Yeah, it's really weird that they're willing to sacrifice the people that have like been lifelong, fans and hobbyists of D&D. They're gonna sacrifice them to this new digital this digital marketplace god that they're creating. Oh man, that's crazy. Yeah, Lovecraft too. Yeah, that's another one. Yeah, and every game has to have that. Well, as a person, Lovecraft was very problematic, but we don't mind making money off of his public domain creations now, do we? Hmm. Yeah, that's really bad. Yeah, there's too much strange, vague wording, and that's funny that they're talking about it. It went from, what was it, the 1.0 or 1.0a went from 900 words to the 1.1 is 9,000 words, so it's 10 times as much legalese to for this open game license. Yeah, it'll be interesting. I wonder who's gonna oppose this and what kind of judgments we're gonna get out of it. Yeah, I think I think you're right, Miguel. That's true. Yeah, if you're gonna, and we've talked about that. Yeah, Chris and I have gone through that in the podcast too, because with that time traveling. Is it Plaid Hat or who did the sanitized Lovecraft where it was like Terminator style time travel to try to get around the things they didn't like about Lovecraft? Quit trying to make money off of Lovecraft and quit calling things Cthulhu and whatever with if you don't agree. Yeah, and that was the point that I think the interesting thing about Lovecraft is you're trying to separate the author from the work. If he wasn't so paranoid and xenophobic and all the things that were attributed to him, if he wasn't that, he never would have come up with cosmic horror. Like there would never have been cosmic horror without that kind of paranoia. And they even said, like, based on his letters, I've heard someone say that when he moved to New York, he actually changed his outlook. So living in New England, in kind of smaller town New England, he was much worse, much more xenophobic, much more hateful. And moving to New York, like, oh, I guess these people aren't so bad. Like having actual contact with people of different, races and cultures actually changed his outlook, and he like lightened up a bit. But without that weird, without his weird hang-ups and obsessions and whatever was causing that, he wouldn't have made what he made. So yeah, I don't know, it's hard to separate. Yeah, and right, and so yeah, definitely out of context, like things in the 30s were a little bit different. Yeah, right. Yeah, 9,000 words means, yeah, Sir Matthew's right. Yeah, 9,000 words people means they don't want people to read the whole thing. And Matt says, yes, he was a man of his time and social class, and also he's dead. Super dead. That's true. Yeah, that which is dead may never die. Oh, yeah, that's funny. All right, guys. So this is so great. I'm so happy to have everyone in the chat. It's great to have a lively chat for the weekly. Yeah, and there's so much that's going to be going on throughout the year. So please come back anytime. And yeah, we'll be putting out more videos of all kinds of stuff that's going on, and playing some more Forbidden Lands and all of that. So yeah. So thanks so much. And this audio goes on, of course, the Patreon RSS feed. So, and I apologize too. I was a little bit, so I kind of took a week off during the holidays, and before the last a weekly that we recorded, I didn't get that out. It was kind of a week delayed. So sorry that showed up so late on the RSS feeds and everything. It was a little bit delayed as a podcast, but we'll be back on schedule. So by the weekend, this episode will be out, the audio version. So Happy New Year again to everyone, and thanks so much for being here for our first live stream of the year. So take care, everyone, and we'll see you next week. Goodbye.